during this very challenging time where we had to be forced to be separate from our friends and our colleagues, I was really grateful for this Anchor app, which has allowed me to continue the podcast after almost 1 year of working on it. It's free. You simply go to anchor.fm and download the app. And there you'll find all the tools that you need to record and edit your podcast, as well as to invite people onto your podcast through the app. Anchor also distributes the podcast for you on Apple, Spotify, and many other platforms. You have absolutely nothing to do except to record your podcast. If you have an ad like this, you can also make money. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I would recommend it for anyone who wants to get their voice out there, has something to contribute. Go for it. Anchor.fm is where you go to download the free app and to get started. Good luck with your podcast. Today we speak with Bolivian artist Guto Ajayu. Guto is now based in Spain and in France, at least mostly Spain now, I guess, because of the lockdown, but he has studios in Paris and Madrid, and he talks to us a little bit about his work and his future projects. I hope you enjoy this. How are you, Guto?
Oh, how are you, Nicolette?
Good. Do me a favor because I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. So maybe you can pronounce your name for everyone who is listening.
All right, it's Guto Ajayu. And actually, it's very good that you told me that because a lot of people has problems with Ajayu. Is with at the beginning. Hayu.
Okay, Guto Ajayu. Well, thank you for explaining it, and thank you for being here.
I mean, thanks to you for your time, for the amazing job you're doing, and for giving me the chance to speak with you and tell a little bit about
Yes,
me, right?
tell me about your work. How would you describe it? You said it's a mix of contemporary graffiti and symbols from ancient culture.
Yes, it is actually my work is the reflection of myself. I'm a guy that grew up in Bolivia, in the mountains of South America, and I'm so in contact with my roots, with my culture, with my customs. But at the same time, I grew up with all the influence of the big world. So basically, I felt always the need of translating all what I was feeling into art. So that's why my art mix all the past in me and all the influences that I see every day as a street art or pop, because I used to be a graffiti artist when I was a teenager.
Yes, but what are the roots of your culture? I mean, for someone who doesn't know Bolivia or doesn't know much about South American art or let's say the indigenous history, what are those symbols?
Well, symbology of my culture is first of all the Andean culture. The Andean culture is all the civilizations that have been growing and being created in all Los Andes mountains range, and especially the Inca and the Tiwanaku cultures that we're speaking about 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and they used to have a philosophy, a religion based in contact with the nature. Contact with the nature, respect with several gods like the god sun, the Pachamama, which is the Mother Earth, and being in communion, right? So they have developed a lot of astronomy, engineering, and amazing buildings that for the people that doesn't know about South American cultures, they can be similar as the Giza pyramids in Egypt, like big, massive constructions with solid, big stones, just for celebrating religion.
Yes.
So all those costumes have been growing up with me, and I mean, I'm feeling very lucky that I can show to the world what I do and what is my culture, right?
Hmm. And how did you start as an artist? How did you begin and recognize yourself as an artist? And how did it work?
Well, I have been very lucky because either that is the universe or God, somebody gave me since I'm a little kid the necessity of making art. I mean, I'm drawing, I'm sculpting since I am 4 years old. I was a lucky teenager because besides the support of my parents, I knew immediately what I was going to study once I finished high school, fine arts. So finally I did it, and then I make a lot of investigation and experimentation with all kinds of styles and materials for finally being comfortable with what I do now, what I call the Andean pop art.
Right. Very good. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing in La Paz in Bolivia and how things changed for you when you moved to Spain. I'm not sure how long ago did you move to Spain?
Well, actually, I am almost 4 years in Europe between Spain and Paris, Madrid and
Mm-hmm.
Paris, and everything has changed so much because so two different worlds. Because from growing in a very pretty conservative, also very spiritual and small country, which is Bolivia, seeing the white world for the first time because I've been just in countries next to Bolivia before, crossing the ocean, looking, of course, for a let's say for a big market, right? For making my dreams reality
Mm-hmm.
of living and living good from my art has been amazing because it's a constant adventure. 4 years can be a lot of time, but also can be just a minute, you know,
Yes.
because I'm still learning about other cultures, other people. I mean, how a continent so far away things to us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So has changed my art a lot, and I'm very grateful to be in unknown lands for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking forward for continue expanding that for moving to other places.
And so, where's your studio and what are you making right now out of your studio? Do you have a studio in Paris and in Madrid, or where are you based?
Yes, I have a place in Paris that, of course, during this year of COVID, I've been just probably 3 times. Normally, I try to be like 6 or 7 times per year.
Mm-hmm.
I have one place in Paris, and well, my main studio is here in Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I work with doors. I mean, wood doors that I find in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the same time, I want to give to some people's trash a new life. You know,
Right.
a new life and converting it in art. For me, it's a little bit like I feel like an alchemist. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yes.
It is it is amazing taking something, painting it, and suddenly it is something that another person will value a lot. So I basically work with big doors, and I'm working well with some galleries around Europe and around the world. Always putting my touch, which is the antique cultures. And this year, actually, I've been investigating also another antique cultures from the world,
Mm-hmm.
like the Persian culture, Egyptian culture, or Chinese culture.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that I do more investigation, I realize that we all have things in common. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Either the symbology, the philosophy, you know, the beliefs, it's beautiful. So I'm starting to add to my aesthetic other cultures right now.
That's a really interesting point. I mean, in this time where we're all divided and separated, it's good to remember that at the root, we are all coming from the same place.
Indeed. Indeed. Doesn't matter the language, religion, race, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we are people, you know?
Yes. Well,
We're all people, and that's awesome.
yes. I remember, I think Basquiat and some other artists in the New York, what you would call, I guess, street art scene, at some point
Yeah.
used doors as well to paint on. So that's interesting that you have those doors in Europe as well.
Exactly. I mean, Basquiat, a huge reference for me. I even had I mean, all the books that speaks about Basquiat art. I have it in my personal library
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just the genius of the aesthetic. It's the moment he did it. where nobody else was doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I can imagine that if almost 40 years ago, being a Caribbean American kid in New York wasn't that easy, you know?
Yes.
Wasn't that easy. And like being a South American in Spain, because of all this is history that we have
Mm-hmm.
together, isn't that easy, but it's at the end a challenge and a beautiful challenge, you know? So, I mean, I love that guy, Basquiat.
Yes. And where are you? Are you showing your work currently, or do you have plans to show it? I mean, how are things going in Spain with the pandemic?
Well, for the first question, I've been very blessed because I'm showing permanently my work in galleries in Spain, Marbella, Paris. I mean, like in several countries across the world, Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
but especially in Spain,
Mm-hmm.
uh, things has been rough for many artists because if we speak of contemporary art market, Madrid normally moves just the 1% per year of contemporary sales.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm gonna be very specific. For me, uh, against the odds, has been the best year of my life, professionally speaking, because
Right.
when when everybody was contracting, I got panicked like 2 weeks, and then I said, "Come on, if everybody contracts, is the moment to expand." So I put all my savings, all my effort and time on the line of fire, and thank God succeed. And I have expand either professionally, emotionally, and financially
Mm-hmm.
like never before. So I'm looking forward for the next year.
Well, it's interesting you said that, and I think it's very inspiring that you said that because if we look at the news, you see so many fear-based narratives that everyone's having a hard time, blah blah blah. But it's not true. Not everyone has had a hard time this past year. Some people have expanded, like you said.
Exactly, because I born in a country that has been in crisis since I'm born. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's like a regular coin for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when pandemic came, that is a world crisis. I just got the solutions that I've seen my father took in the past in Bolivia, my grandparents. That it was just keep pushing, you know,
Yes.
keep pushing. And I learned, at least in my case, I understand that there are people that it's really in a bad time. I'm very sorry about it. But in my case, I've learned that for me, the crisis was psychological. The moment when I changed my psychology and my approach, everything changed. I dominate myself and then I start to dominate the surroundings. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's it. That's exactly what it is about.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And what is this Gran Anuario project that I saw referenced in your bio? What are you the director of, or what is that about?
Oh yes, as you know, as I never satisfied with any projects, I create new projects, right? Because besides Guto Ajayu organization, that is my art brand and all my team,
Mm-hmm.
I have created Guto Ajayu Culture.
Mm-hmm.
That is a cultural brand creating art books, presenting art books, curating them, and also exhibitions
Mm-hmm.
in Spain for artists around the world. So right now we are fabricating the third book
Mm-hmm.
that we have very lucky to present it in the Fine Art Circle of Madrid, which is the most important cultural center of the country,
Mm-hmm.
and we're showing artists from all around the world. Actually, in this book that we're going to present next April in
Mm-hmm.
2021, we have several artists from USA, from New York. Actually, we have 3 artists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from Canada, Korea, India. It's crazy, like 20 countries. So thank God it's going very good.
Yes, well, I'm happy to hear that. And in terms of Spain, what does it look like for any activities in galleries or moving around, or is there a curfew like there is in some parts of Europe right now?
I mean, look, right now Spain is kind of in a lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
No allow more reunions more than 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
But in normal terms, the cultural movement here in Spain is massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive because once you realize that people like Dali or Picasso were from this country,
Mm-hmm.
you realize the movement that exists here. I mean, normally we say that Spain is known as the door of Europe. because almost each flight, if it's not in London, is gonna land first in Barajas Airport in Madrid. So the multicultural influence that we have is amazing. I mean, actually, here in the center of Madrid, there is a wonderful neighborhood called Lavapiés neighborhood, which is like the African and Arabic quarter. And starting with the food, the music, the art galleries, I mean, makes a big influence, and the mix with the Latin American and Spanish culture. So I really recommend you to come around. Bless you.
Hopefully, thank you. Hopefully, I will be there soon. I am not sure exactly when, but hopefully soon. I mean, maybe this summer I will pass through it if I go to Ibiza or Mallorca or somewhere. We'll see. I want to take my son because he's never been.
All right. Well, you're more than welcome here in my studio. I mean, would be awesome. And I mean, if if we make the dates with time, I'm gonna make sure not be in Paris and meet you. That's for sure.
Well, that's a good. Yeah, my son also says to me from time to time, okay, he wants to go back to France. So we will hopefully. I don't know. We'll see when we can travel as well. We will figure it out.
Yeah, of course. Hard times, weird times now.
Very strange times to be separated and not to be doing what you think you want to do of your own will.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, it's very weird, but you know, I'm very super positive, so I know everything will be pretty normal soon.
Yes, I love that you're super positive. I think in this world, it's better to be super positive to balance out the energy of the people who are not super positive.
Exactly, because anyway, what I call the trash of the world is there, you know. So it's gonna be there, and the problems. So actually, you can make the difference because either you cry or you smile. The problems will be there, so better smile, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. I was just before I spoke to you. I have she's one of my gurus, I guess you could call her. She's based in Ibiza now, but she's an American woman. She teaches meditation, and she basically said, yeah, you know, just smile, laugh, make a joke. You know, it's like all of the stuff is there anyways. Just put yourself in a different frame of mind. So
indeed, actually, you know, Buddha used to say, he has a saying that is, if the problem has a solution, don't worry, and if the problem doesn't have a solution, don't worry. Right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I'm so glad you bring that up.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing more about your work and where you're showing and stuff like that. So, where can we find more information about you? What's the website or stuff that people can look on?
Well, as my name is pretty unique in any social media, I mean all of them, you can find me as Guto, Guto Ajayu. G is G, right? Like
yes.
Gato?
Yes.
Okay.
Guto, then Ajayu.
Exactly. Guto Ajayu everywhere, and I mean, I'm very open all the time to talk to people. I love to, so you can send me a DM, an email, whatever. I'm always happy to talk about my work or just, you know, get to know people. I love it.
Great. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're still managing to collaborate and get projects done. And yeah, life will move on and move forward. We just should probably dig in some more.
Exactly. And let me tell you something that as I'm a guy that plans everything and normally I deliver the goods, I want to say that my goal is in 5 years established definitely in New York.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, because first, of course, I want to achieve my personal promise with myself and my girlfriend that also loves Paris to live a couple of years in Paris, that we're moving probably next year in some point. So, but after that, the Big Apple is my goal.
Well, you know, there are big changes happening here as well, and it will be interesting to see what happens in a few more years because in some ways I feel we are on the brink of a cultural renaissance from this whole collapse that we've seen in the last few months. I'm optimistic that something good is going to come up again.
Exactly, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of interesting people around the world is planning the same as me, so it's gonna be a cool time.
New York is ready to welcome you, so please come on whenever you're ready.
Oh man, I'm looking forward, and I mean, I've heard so much stories about New York that, well, visiting New York, definitely I'm gonna do it next year several times. So I hope we have the chance to meet. That would be awesome.
Yes. Well, if there's anything else you want to add, let me know, or else let's go and have a great day.
All right. So yes, the last thing I want to add is for everybody that is having a hard time. I mean, look up, never give up, keep pushing, and if we all keep pushing for a great goal, it's gonna be a great world.
All right. Thank you. Well, enjoy the day, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks to
Take
you.
care.
Talk to you soon and enjoy your
Yes.
day. Bye
Bye,
bye.
Guto.
Bye.
Well, I think this was a timely reminder about the connections between all cultures and all people across the world, and also some indication of hope or light at the end of the tunnel. You know, things are difficult for many people around the world, but if you just manage to perhaps change your perspective on things, things can definitely go better. So I hope you enjoyed this interview with Guto and look forward to the next episode with you here. Thank you for joining the Bees and Honey podcast.